So I'm going to share with you some of my thoughts around some of my experiences, some of the things that I've learned. I'm always a student, and hopefully today you'll learn something, but more importantly, hopefully you'll leave a little bit inspired. So Winston Churchill said, never let a good crisis go to waste. I would add to that, never let a good problem go to waste. And good leaders are formed through crisis, through opportunity, and through challenges. A little bit about me. I didn't grow up in this country. I grew up overseas. My father, I'm the daughter of a combat heavy brigade commander. Later you'll say, that explains a lot. I came to Utah when I was 18. I had a lot of wonderful leaders in my life and some terrific experiences. Early in my career, I did meet Peter Drucker, and he said to me, young lady, don't let anything stop you. You keep going. And I was a student of his. When I graduated from college, I went to Novell. I was there for 14 plus years. And Eric Schmidt said to me, I do believe that you're going to be the one to turn the lights out of this company. But in 2002, there was a management change, and all of a sudden I was unemployed, lost my job. And it felt like a crisis for me. I was 6 months pregnant with triplets. Only one survived. That's my son Davis, who is now 11. He's the sparkle of my life. He wears a 48 short, so I wouldn't mess with him. 200-pound 11-year-old. But for me, it was the first time in my life, because I loved this company. I loved my time there, and I was going to work there forever. And for the first time in my life, I had a crisis. And I realized that I had to roll the dice on my own skills. And it was terrifying for me. And when I went home that night, my 8-year-old son said to me, Mom, are we going to have enough to eat? Which is not rational to a working mom. But when your child tells you that, you never want them to worry about are we going to have a place to live, are we going to have enough to eat? And I realized that this crisis for me was an opportunity for me to do something else and something different, even though I love technology, I love this company. Once I popped my head up and started looking around for jobs, I found that I had good skills. I found that I had a pretty good brand, and I found that there was tremendous opportunity in Utah. So this crisis was a springboard for me to actually have a wonderful career in technology. I went to Altiris, this little tiny software company that I loved as well. From that, Altiris was purchased by Symantec. I went on to become the Chief Marketing Officer of the world's largest security company, the third largest software company in the world. And then this job now at Allegiance. And it's unusual for a CMO to become a CEO. But what I was able to get from that one crisis is the scar tissue and the experience and the pedigree to be able to do what I do today. So Merriam-Webster would say to us that to lead means to be in charge or command, or to be an example to others to follow. And I believe that a successful leader needs to be both, to be willing to be in charge, to take command, but also to be an example for others to follow. So I'm going to give you 4 principles today, and for those of you that know me, 4 concepts. For those of you that know me, you know that this is pretty much the fabric of who I am. I'm going to talk to you about what it means to lift, what it means to educate, what it means to act, and why you should pay attention to disruption. Imagine if we, as a community, decide that today, from now on, we are going to lift as we rise in our careers and our personal life. Imagine how our communities would improve, our workplaces, our teams, our families, if we decide today that we're going to lift. So I play in a band. We're not terrible. We've been together 10 years. It's called Manage This. We were finalists in the Battle of Corporate Bands. But for the most part, we love to be together, we love to play, we have a lot of fun. And this band reminds me of what it means to be a good leader. Because every member plays to their strength. Every member contributes in a unique way. That's me in the back, with really big hair and a microphone. I play the keyboards, I sing backup. I play the Lord Partridge part in this band. You just have to have a girl in there. We have a lot of fun. At this time, we were all Altiris employees, playing for our customers, And all these gentlemen worked for me at the time, so you could say that I was leading from the back. But I love the music that we can make together. I spend about 30% of my time making sure that I have the right employees in the right place, that they're playing the right instruments, that the song sounds great, and that everyone's having fun. And a part of my job is to make sure that my employees, to help them realize their dreams. When Ryan talks about his organization, we have the same thing in my company. Employees who came to do something really special. Now, I told you we're Altiris employees. They're all now very successful in their own careers. We still play together. We still play for charity. We still play for high schools. We have a lot of fun. While we're at Altiris, I met my mentor, and I met the leader that had a very significant role in my life. Most of you know him. His name is Greg Butterfield, and he was the president and CEO of Altiris. And a good leader not only mentors your leaders, opens doors for you, but also shoves you through that door. So at Altiris, we were acquired by Symantec. He wanted me to interview for the chief marketing job at Symantec, and I said, not interested, don't want to work for a big company. They're not a marketing company, they're a sales company. And I said, I don't want to do it. He saw potential in me, and he pushed me toward that anxiety. And it ended up being a wonderful platform for me and a wonderful opportunity for me. And it meant that I could stay in Utah. It meant that I could protect the 600 jobs that we had in Utah. And it was also a springboard for me to do what I do today. We rise by lifting others. And leaders do not rise by themselves. They surround themselves with qualified, dedicated individuals who have lofty goals and aspirations. And we have incredible talent here in Utah. I've been able to enjoy a wonderful career in technology without ever having to move from the state. When I interviewed for the chief marketing job at Symantec, they never asked me if I would move. Headquarters is in Mountain View, California. And I said to the CEO, how come you didn't ask me to move? He said, would you have moved? I said, no. He's like, well, then what's the point? Our customers aren't here, our employees aren't here. You can live wherever you want to live, and I'm proud that I stayed in Utah. The second principle I want to talk to you about is about what it means to educate. People are our greatest asset, and a good leader cannot ignore how do you improve the education for your employees. How do you help those employees realize their dreams? How do you help them become the happiest they've been? Because the happier employees feel like they have opportunity, they can contribute to growing the company. I love math. I always want to be an athlete, and I love this equation, that curiosity plus effort equals education. And I try to be the chief inspirer of curiosity in my company. I'm always looking for ways to do things differently. I always want to know why things happen, and I always want to know, okay, how can I be a better student? Let me tell you a little bit about Allegiance. When I took the helm a year and a half ago, I came to this really cool software company, and I was really inspired by the innovation that was happening at the company. I was surrounded by all these geeks who had this natural thirst for understanding what was going on, what could we do better. And I was worried that, I first thought, how am I going to raise the bar for these employees? How am I going to do this? And what I realized is that it wasn't about raising the bar, it was about not lowering the bar for these employees. And how could I build opportunities for innovation to continue as we grow? Because as Ryan says, we grow really rapidly. You have to pay attention to how do you make sure to protect the things that made you great when you were a smaller company. So we regularly celebrate the innovation of every fact that he thinks these glasses make him look good, is that he has an unstoppable thirst for knowledge, that he is the most curious person I've ever met, and that he's always looking for the next big thing. And my main job is to make sure that Al can continue to dream and do what he does best, because my company will be better. And that I make sure that my other employees have the opportunities to develop and to grow. Nelson Mandela put it best. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And as a leader, we should all decide that we are going to be the chief inspirer of curiosity. That we're going to foster an environment of perpetual education, and we're going to make sure that everyone is learning and that everyone is a student. Let me talk to you about what it means to act. Some leaders feel compelled to act on everything, that they have to take care of everything, they have to manage everything. But great leaders understand that the timing or even the absence of action is just as important as the action itself. I tell my teams, go conquer the hill, go take this mountain. This is the star on the horizon we're going to take. But I don't tell them how to do it because I hire bright, capable, able people who can do a really good job. Acting doesn't mean you do everything. It means that you set the vision for what needs to be done. I took this picture when I was in Latin America. I was speaking at a radio station. True story. The power went out of the building. I was trying to find this conference room and the lights came back on. This was the room I ended up in. And I took this picture because for me, it meant something because in technology we're moving so quickly. Just go, 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 growing fast, fast, fast. You can't get it right all the time. But yet, we live in a world of chaos. There's a lot of things we have to leave behind. I mean, look at the keyboards that are taped together. I would hate to be the guy who has to clean this up. As a leader, you have to be the one to help your team focus. You have to teach them how to cut through the clutter. You have to act with clarity. And you have to be clear about the objectives. And you have to set direction because it's easy to get distracted. The second part of action is that immediate results are often not attainable and that you need to be patient to accomplish big things. And you need to be willing to lose to win, and no doesn't mean no. So let me give you an example. When I was at Novell, had a great time there, 14 plus years, but part of my career there I realized that I needed to spend more time with product management, with product marketing, and with the development teams. Because to work in a software company, you really have to have real street credibility. You have to have spent time with the products. So I said to my boss, look, I want to interview for this job in the networks product division. And that division was the largest division in the company. So I met with the general manager, and he was trying to hire someone over his largest product group. He had a bunch of silos that all operated independently. And we had a great interview. He said, I want to hire you for the job. And I really wanted to be in this group. And when I was interviewing for the job, I realized this is not the right job. Because while he wanted to hire someone over the product groups, what he really needed was someone to be over all of the products, to braid together an interesting story that would be compelling to customers, that would make it easier for employees to do their job. So I said, I'm delighted that you want me to take this job, but I think the bigger job, the more courageous job, is actually to be over all of the products, telling a compelling story, and having to rationalize some of the challenges we had with the messaging. He said, I don't want to do that. It causes too much churn for my executives. I don't want to mess with it right now. I just want to hire this. So my brain, my instinct, I'm thinking, I really want this job. But I said to him, I'm sorry, I'm not the right man for the job. He's like, no, you are the right man for the job. I want you to take this. I said, no, I'm not going to do it. But if you decide that you want to do this braver job, then I'm the right man for the job. You call me and I'll be happy to do it, but I'm going to have to say no. So I got in my car, I'm driving home from his office, and I'm thinking, did I do the right thing? Is it always a good idea to follow your instincts? Are you sure about this? Because you really want this job. This is a charity job. 15 minutes later, he calls me. Okay. You're right. The harder thing to do, the braver thing to do, I want you to take that job. So I took that job. And it was a terrific job. It was hard. But I was willing to lose to win. And it was at that moment that I realized, no doesn't mean no. So the last principle I want to talk to you about is disruption. Disruption's gotten a really bad rap. We all shy away from it. But as a marketer, I am attracted to brands that are disruptive. So think about some of the most iconic brands. They're some of my favorite brands that have been disrupted to their markets. So Amazon, Zappos, how about Apple? They've changed how we buy. They've changed how we think. They've changed. I love those brands. And I'm attracted to companies that cause disruption to make it easier for me, and I give them my money. And disruption is something that I've learned how to embrace, and that a leader can really show and lead through disruption creates terrific opportunity. Now, sometimes we forget that it's probably a good idea to move toward anxiety. Much like when I didn't want to become the CMO at Symantec, when I wanted to push through other things. If we decide that, okay, we will, as leaders, move through anxiety, move towards anxiety, it will end up changing us for better. And when disruptions come, you need to acknowledge that they exist. It's like the only constant. There's always going to be change. And we need to focus on the things that we can control, not on the things that we can't control. And while sometimes we create our own disruptions, other times disruptions are thrust upon us. So the most disruptive thing in my life I'm going to share with you today. On January 20th of 2012, I was diagnosed with stage 3 ovarian clear cell cancer with a 20% survival rate. And I was the least likely person to have cancer. Never had any drugs in my life, had no cancer in my family. I don't even drink soda pop. I exercise every single day, I eat right, I do everything I'm supposed to do. How is it that I have cancer? How is it that this man that I've been married to for 30 years is now going to be a widower? I've worked so hard to get these 2 children here. Now they're going to be raised by a stepmom who has 6 children, who's going to spend all my money. Like, I couldn't get past all of that. It was terrifying for me. My husband's like, what are you talking about? The stepmom. I thrashed around. What am I going to do? How am I? I'm at the top of my career, my highest earning potential, everything. It's like I was 48 years old. This is an old woman's disease, right? So I thrashed and thrashed and thrashed, and I was like, okay, I've got to do this differently. So at 5:17 a.m. on the 27th of January, so an entire week later, I figured it out. I figured it out. And I took this picture from my hospital bed. I'm sorry that it's so blurry, but it was such an important moment for me. I took a picture of it with my phone because I wanted to remember. I wanted to remember that I could do this differently, that I didn't have to follow a script that someone else wrote for me, that this disruption would change me, that we have a motto in our household, it's over our front door, that says, this family does hard things. And that I would have an opportunity to show my children and my family what it meant to do hard things. That I would do chemotherapy every single week, not every 3 weeks. And then I would do a year of chemotherapy every 21 days. That I would not lose my hair because I didn't want my children to have to explain to their friends why their mother was bald. And I can't actually pull off 6 feet of bald anyway. That I would work with my doctors at Huntsman were fantastic. And that it didn't matter, that I would show how to do this. So tomorrow is my 1-year anniversary from finishing up my chemotherapy. You're very kind. But I survived. I survived. And the cancer changed me forever because when you think you're going to die, it changes you forever. It changes your lens. And it gave me a gift. It gave me the opportunity to look at disruption differently, to look at my children differently, to look at my life differently. It gave me the chance to make sure that I spend the time that I'm here, because none of us know how long we're here, to do the things that I want to do. So you have a different lens, and I embrace disruption because it is the scar tissue that is the fabric of who I am. So let me finish with this picture. This is me, 3 years old, really bad haircut, but look at those eyes. I get asked this question all the time. Are leaders born or are they raised? Do they come to the planet with the assets already, or do they pick up things along the way? And I would say to you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is that every one of us can lift as we rise in our careers and in our personal life. Every one of us can educate the people in our ecosystem, our teams, our families, the young people in our community. Every one of us can choose to act and not be acted upon. And every single one of us can embrace disruption and use it for our advantage. Because every single one of us can leave a legacy of talent that will work beautifully without us.